Hello there. Today, before I start painting, I just want to show you the almost dried canvas from my last video. The reason I'm showing you is because it's weirding me out big time. When I started the picture, I had used as my base paint a mix of dark blue and phthalo green. As it's been drying, it's been getting darker and darker around where the actual base paint still is. So I have what looks like black or very, very dark green. And it's also in other parts of the canvas where it's showing through over here on this side. But where it was blended with the dryer, the blow dryer, it has basically come out the greenish and bluish tint of the original colour. Now, I don't know why that's happened. It certainly is beautiful. I'm loving all the colours in it. But if anybody can tell me why that colour did what it did, I would really appreciate it. Something else before I finish too, I'm quite happy with all the lacing that I actually ended up with on the picture. It's stayed as it's dried, although as I said it's not completely dry yet. But it's a very, very pretty picture, and the metallics in the colours have shown up very, very well. So I'll now get started on my painting for the day. Today I am doing another experiment. Yesterday I was fortunate enough to watch a video on YouTube from the channel of Fiona Art, and it was brilliant. She went live, she showed how she mixes her pouring medium when she uses glue, which isn't very often. She showed all sorts of tips and tricks, including one I was absolutely fascinated with, where she showed how to get lacing on her pictures by testing the paint to make sure that she would get that effect, and also made very clear the difference between lacing and cells. So I will put a link to that video down in my description below. It's a long video, but I tell you, it's well worth watching if you're just learning how to paint pour. And for me, I've been doing it for 1.5 years. There was still so much to learn from it. So I'm going to show you the trick that she used. I'll just move my canvas here. And I'm going to do mine on a piece of my plastic. She did it on a piece of cardboard. And what she did was, she put down a little bit of her paint that she was using at the time, which had a pearlescent medium added, which was what makes her lacing. I haven't got it. It's almost impossible for me to get it here in New Zealand, but I have found one that I think is pretty close, although it's a colour rather than a medium, and it is silver, and it is by the Art. I'll just get it out of the cupboard rather than trying to tell you about it. I've shown you this several times before. It's the Artist Acrylic Value Series, and this is in the silver, and I had noticed from some of my other paintings that it was doing some special things for me, particularly in the lacing, and when I was doing the reverse dips it was coming up beautifully. So that is what Fiona did. She put down her blob. Then on top of that she put just a standard colour. In this case I'm using black. And then she blew over it. Now when she blew over hers, she got cells straight away. That didn't work for me when I tried it. I had to wait for the cells. I'm sorry. I had to wait for the lacing, and I had to use my torch, so I'll see what sort of effect I can get now. And there we are, I've blown over it. I'll just give it another quick blow. and then you just really have to wait to see what happens. I'll hold it up closer to the camera for you. You can see the tiny dots starting now. As I said, hers was effective immediately. Mine, I have to wait for a little while and use the torch. And after I had done that, I then moved the paint round a bit to make those cells bigger. And again. And just kept on doing that, is what I did for about, probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes, until I got a lovely lot of these lacings coming through from underneath, and all caused by the whatever it is that is in this particular paint. I haven't found it from any of the others. I tried the same experiment with my 𝐏𝐸𝐬𝐜 Pearl White. Didn't do it. Didn't do anything at all. And so I just kept doing this, making more and more of the little cells come through, and then just moving them around to allow them more room to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was so impressed with that little experiment, because there's no silicone added. It is just that paint, the silver paint, and of course just a standard lamp black from the Reno art paints that I use. So that's got nothing in it except my pouring medium of glue and water. So I'll put that aside now. That is the experiment that I initially did after I saw Fiona's video, and now I'm going to try it on a canvas. So I've got my small square canvas here, and I got very interested in the dump and swirl technique a few weeks ago. Tried it and wasn't impressed because I just didn't have the correct paints to be able to do it. So today I am going to try it again, and I am using the various colours, and what I've done is I have added some of the silver paint to them, except one I have left completely silver, and I am going to see how well that works with the black paint. So I've done yellow, and each one of these little cups has got 10 grams of my pouring medium, which is the PVA glue and water, 5 grams of each of the different colours, and 10 grams of the silver, and then water to thin it down. So I've got yellow, that was red, but the silver's made it more a bright pink, cobalt blue, leaf green, no I'm sorry it wasn't, it was lime green, beg your pardon, and of course just the silver which I showed you earlier, of which I did 10 grams of the pouring medium and 15 grams of the silver. And I'm going to put those colours down onto the board, but instead of doing them as I did with a dump and swirl, where I do a puddle pour and then put the black all over it, I'm going to do a similar thing, but I'm not going to cover the whole canvas. I will end up putting black around the edges so I can move that paint around as I showed you in my experiment. So I will get started. quite sure how to rate that. The lacing has certainly worked. I mean, there is definitely not cells, they are little bits of lacing, but it's none of the colours really came through. I can see hints of green or yellow or blue, but only tiny wee hints of it, and certainly not the lacing I got from my experiment, which, as you remember, looks like that, and the two of them side by side don't look anything like that. So obviously I do have to cover the silver paint completely in the black or a different colour to get that sort of lacing. So I will try this experiment again soon, and I will just use the silver like that to see how much of that I can actually get coming up onto the canvas. I might even try it as a reverse dip bottom pour with only two colours, one of them being that silver. So I'll bring it up and show you closer to the light now. So that's how it looks as it is at the moment. And I have decided that with that background as it is, I'm actually going to put a bottle bottom onto that, and I am going to just allow the just two colours, maybe three. I'll see how I go, because I've got a little bit of paint left here that I had mixed up, and I will do a reverse dip onto that just to see what happens.